Welcome to the Fantasy Football Garage. I'm Chris the Candyman, and you already know what time it is tonight. We're talking best ball teams. Week 16 is here. We've advanced. We've made it to the semifinals of Best Ball Mania. I don't want to do the grand reveal just yet. If you haven't already heard, we'll get right into the portfolio on BBMDB. We'll take a look at the remaining teams across a few contests, the teams that I got left, the players on those teams, and we'll talk everything week 16. So come say what up in the chat. And if you're new to the channel, if you just got here, welcome in. Make sure you're subscribed. Come say what up. Let me know in the chat too, for everyone out there. Did you advance some teams to week 16? What do you got? What contest you're in? What players did you got? Did you beat out the Kyle Pitts teams? Did you survive? Let's get right into it. Without further ado, going to hit the intro and let's bring up these portfolios. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Let's hit it. But overall, it's like the guy can ball. Like actions speak louder than words. What's up? How we doing? Happy Tuesday. Whew, it's here. Week 16. It's already here. And man, this is crunch time. This is when it gets really interesting. I remember being here last year, didn't have a single Best Ball Mania team advance from the quarterfinals to the semifinals last season. Got unlucky, went 0 for 25 or 0 for 26, if I'm not 0 for 27, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure I didn't have a a best ball team in the semifinals last season. It was heartbreaking. I did end up reaching the finals in a few other contests, and I don't know, I think at this point I still had like some number. I have to look back. I haven't actually gone through the receipts, but feeling better this year. I've got 2 teams remaining in Best Ball Mania, and I think they've got some juice. I think they're still alive. A little bit unlucky in my Best Ball Mania pods, but hey, that's just the game. Don't we all feel that way? And yeah, I was sweating out on Monday Night Football last night. I had a path to getting 4 teams through to the Best Ball Mania semifinals. I had one team that didn't have any players remaining, and it lost by about a point. So I had 5 teams that were just so close to advancing. One of them didn't have any players on Monday night, so it's gone. I had 4 viable teams remaining. I needed DK Metcalf to catch one more ball, or if they hadn't had that penalty in the first quarter on his first technical reception. So DK Metcalf puts up 13 fantasy points. I needed 13.7 to advance another Best Ball Mania. So that knocks off a team. My third team that I could have advanced needed Jaylen Warren to have the day that Kenneth Gainwell had. And they rode the hot hand. They scored with 2 different tight ends rushing the ball. Who could have seen that coming? Steelers, even though they destroyed the Dolphins. And so that crushed my dreams. I'm down to 2 teams, and I'm sweating out the very last possession because if Devon Achane, who I love, if he scores 17.8 fantasy points on Monday Night Football, I would lose another advancing team. I'd go down to 1 advancing team. So I'm sitting there. I'm praising Darren Waller for catching his touchdowns, that those didn't go to Achane. Achane finished with like something like 14, 15 points. So we sneak by. We get 2 teams in to the Best Ball Mania semifinals. Feeling pretty good. Yo, what up, BBG? The man. How we doing tonight? Good to see you. Can't wait to see what BBG talks about tomorrow night on the Toxic Tower with Tyler and Tyler, and their advancing teams. I saw them post one on Twitter. They've got one of their Toxic Tower teams that did advance. That's pretty sick. We got Copy Paste Lay GM. What's up, brother? How we doing? He threaded a needle last night with that last H-hand catch and held by 1 fantasy point against an H-hand team. Bro, nice. Yeah, like I said, I was sweating the H-hand. I was sweating some pieces. We got none other than Neil Orfield in the house. Let's get it, brother. Neil, how are the teams looking? How are the best ball teams doing? Good to see you, my friend. 2 into the quarterfinals is higher than expected. Yeah, getting 2 through, just above expected. Yeah, I was feeling pretty lucky that I even had the shot to get 5 through, and then 4, then 3, then 2. I'm fine with it. You know, like I said, last year I didn't have any teams in the Best Ball Mania semis in week 16, so I was already feeling pretty down at this time last year. Who Hames, my man. How we doing, Who Hames? I saw Who Hames was live earlier today. Make sure you check out his content as well. Tomorrow night, Who Hames, Hartman, and I are getting the band back together. We're going to stream late Wednesday night about this time, I think, or maybe a little bit earlier. We'll see. But we're going to go through our advancing teams with the group and talk about everything with week 16 as well. And actually look at the matchups, I think, too, and just have some fun. So make sure you tune into that. We're going to go live tomorrow with Who and Hartman. 231 in Best Ball Mania. Okay, yeah, Neil did post this on Twitter. I saw Neil's come through, and the DK Millie, so 2 out of 31 in the Millie, or 2 out of 31 in total. Gotcha. Okay, not ideal, but you're still alive. It only takes 1. That's what we tell ourselves at this point in the year. I've got 9 teams remaining out of my 103 from last week. I've got 9 teams live on Underdog. It only takes 1. That's what we got to tell ourselves. It's the classic best ball cope. Yeah, between Neil and BBG, they have 3 BBMs. Hell yeah. All 3 with H-hand. I like that. And at least they play the Bengals, right? Right. So we have the Bengals matching up with the Dolphins this coming week in week 16. Everyone's talking about Darren Waller. That's pretty exciting. And then another Best Ball Mania with Sean Mitchell. Hell yeah. That's why it's fun to have guests on too. And then just kind of see what happens. And if those teams make it through, I'll have to look on the Underdog app. I don't know if I have any guest teams remaining. I'm not 100% sure, but I was tracking it in week 15, and a lot of them got immediately dunked by the Kyle Pitts and not having Trey McBride. So, yeah, what's up, Anthony? How we doing? Got 1 Best Ball Mania, 2 semifinals, probably dead on arrival. You never know. We'll see. I have 1 team, and we'll look at it too, but I'm a little bit worried about some of the missing pieces in some of these contests. But you can get lucky. It only takes a few pieces. And, everyone's roster's got dead players on it this time of the year, dead roster spots. I think I posted it on Twitter back a week ago when I was on with Cody. We were talking about the crazy stat that it was like 41% of advancing teams only were able to roster 1 quarterback, 1 starting quarterback in week 15. So everyone's down quarterbacks. Mahomes doesn't help that equation. It's the Wild West right now. Just got to get some healthy guys through. Yeah. Yeah, back to baseline. Here we are. The great equalizer, the pod luck. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a big week coming up. I'm excited. I need to do some looking ahead to week 16. I haven't looked too far ahead at it yet, so I just need to familiarize myself with all the matchups, all the good stuff going on. Thanks again for being here, everyone, for jumping in the chat. Hope your week 15 advance wasn't too rough. You got some through and are looking forward to week 16. The dream lives on. I got knocked out of my my oldest dynasty league that I'm in. I was really trying to. I was in the 4th seed spot. I got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. That's a bummer. And it wasn't even close. I lost by like 30 points. And then I had a bye week in one of my other dynasty leagues. um, that I do with Tom from the Fantasy Sanctuary, and in that league, I had a first round bye. I'm the 1 seed. I had won like I think I lost one of the first 2 weeks, and I never lost again. So I'm pretty psyched on that. I'm just a little bit worried about, do I need to double down and like make some trades? Our trade, we don't have a like there's no end to when you can trade in this league, this dynasty league. So I almost traded away a first round pick or a first and a second for a combination of Christian McCaffrey and some other things. And I'm kind of regretting, kind of wish I did do that already. One of the opponents that I'm going up against in that dynasty league this week, he just made a trade, and he traded like a couple picks and a couple players who were injured for a couple active players. I think he got Gainwell on his team now. And so I'm kind of like sweating a little bit on that one. Do I just need to double down and win now and maybe get rid of some future picks? But my team's pretty strong overall, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's jump right into these Best Ball Mania teams. That's the goal of the show tonight, just to talk our advancing teams, talk about a little bit of, which players are on these rosters, what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up for myself. And then in the chat, if you want me to pull up any of your teams too, if you want to take a look at anything you've got, whether it's Best Ball Mania, Big Board, Poodle, Pomeranian, you can be the king of the Poodle. My first year playing these large field tournaments with some volume was 2023, and I got 7th in the Poodle too. It's pretty nice. Not a bad little win. So you never know. I didn't put it in the Twitter bio, but probably should. Probably should add that back. We'll see how this year goes. We can't beat that one. Here are the teams. So like I said, boom, Podluck at its finest. I had this team that had DK Metcalf, and if I had one more catch, could have advanced potentially. And then I had another team that lost within a point, that it didn't have any players on Monday Night Football, but it had lost on Sunday by a point. And my opponent, he didn't have any Monday Night Football players either. So it really just came down to that. It was done, and a bummer. Can't complain too much. I mean, this team scoring 148, so that'd be a pretty low advancing team. The team that scored 154 is probably closer to what you would expect to maybe advance in a weaker pod, kind of like I did with this 152 here. And then my top scoring team, the 178 or the 172.08, felt pretty good about that. So didn't really have a big sweat to lose that one. That was my 100% team, my baseline that I got one through. Let's pull open some of these teams and see what we got. Oh, the 8. Okay. Now I just remembered. Yeah, Who Hames was saying he's got the BBG was saying he's got the A-Chan teams, and the whole rib injury thing. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, I think we'll hope that he plays through it. We don't get more bad news. The bad news, I think, is coming for Roma Dunze, where I was listening to ETR, their podcast with Adam and Evan earlier today. It sounds like Roma Dunze was trying to play and practice like before the game in week 15, and aggravated something in his foot or just wasn't ready to go. So he could be kind of done for the year, maybe ready for a procedure is what they were thinking, what they were hearing. And I do have Roma Dunze on one of my teams, so we'll take a look at that. It's stacked with Caleb and DJ Moore. So that one's kind of a bummer. I don't think I have any Patrick Mahomes teams, though. Oh, getting Minshew. Yeah, getting Minshew is a smart move, I would say. Yeah, Rome shut down. I think so, too. I was thinking about that. They also were talking about the on the ETR pod, they were talking about the Titans playing the Chiefs this week, and the point total when Patrick Mahomes, before he was injured, it was like a 27.5 implied point total for the Chiefs. It's down to like a 20 point total for the Chiefs, and I think Minshew can get in there and rip it. And I think their defense is still really good, and they've got some pieces on offense. So would I be surprised if they scored like way more than 20 points against the Titans? Like, hell no. I don't think the Titans are that strong. With looking at some more recent trends and what's going on in points allowed and like yards allowed, but I think Minshew can get in there and rip it a little bit. You never know what these backups come and do. Remember when CJ Stroud missed 3 games? Davis Mills, the Texan great, one of the all-time passing leaders and all-time touchdown passing touchdown leaders. I mean, he's in like the top 5 all time on the Texans in their entire franchise. So the great Davis Mills, people forget, he comes in for 3 games and just tears it up. Yeah, they need to raise that 2 million to 4 million. I would agree, Kev, 100%. Let's get that up. All right, this first team is my best remaining team, at least according to my Week 15 score. Let's get this bad boy open. I think this is still the view we have to kind of put up with, but I'm cool with it. We've got the team that I had beaten out on the right hand side, which was fun for the sweat on Monday night. Shout out to PD for the bestballdatabase.com. Make sure if you don't already know, now you know. Check it out. And yeah, buy the guy a coffee too. Patrick Donovan, PD. If you don't know, down here, you can donate. He does all of this for free. I would highly encourage you to buy him a coffee. I think he would appreciate it, and I think we all owe him. Okay, so here we are. This team has 3 quarterbacks. It's got Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, and Michael Penix here. So Michael Penix out for the season. We're down 1. We got 17 players left, but I've got Bo Nix and Caleb Williams. I feel really good about that combo. I'll kind of just jump right into the stacks that I have here. So I've got Bo Nix. I think, let me see on this one. This is the team I have a naked Bo Nix, and I have a bring back with in week 17 with T. Higgins. That's T. Higgins right up here. So I think I was saying this during the summer. Bo Nix is one of those guys where I was optimistic about his rushing upside and not 100% sure who his primary targets were going to be. And so he was a guy that I was confident taking naked during the summer, and I did it more than none times, and this team's made it through. Caleb is stacked up with DJ Moore. This is not my Rome Odunze team, at least, though. And then I've also got, Penix is out on this one. I would have had Penix stacked up with Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier for the team stack, and also had former Falcon Ray McCloud, who I definitely drafted more than none of before the season started, and I don't regret it. He had a nice season last year. The Falcons were kind of rolling a little bit. The running backs, I snuck through a Jahmyr Gibbs team. I feel really good about that. That's really fun. I think that's going to be a nice piece going forward. I've also got Josh Jacobs on this one and Travis Etienne for my workhorse running backs. A little bit of Isaiah Pacheco, which I'm surprised to see, but that works. He's still alive technically. Tyler Algier also alive. So the running backs, I'm 5 for 5, feeling really good about those guys. I think it's hard to ask for more when you have an active Gibbs, Jacobs, and Etienne is, putting up his biggest game of the season and has had a nice floor all season long, but really hadn't showed us that ceiling outcome. So we finally get it. Pretty fun. Let's see what we got. Yes. Yeah. That's what I was thinking, John. Getting this Gibbs team through feels really nice. And not too many dead roster spots for this one. Of course, Ray McCloud, whatever. It's like my 7th receiver. And or is it? I think this is a 3, 5. Is that 8? Can I count? Yeah, it's 8. So he's my 8th receiver. 3, 5, 8, 2 kind of build. If that makes sense. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Chris Jones was hurt. Casey defense isn't the same if he's out. That would be a big blow, right? We love Chris Jones. The dude is a leader on that defense for sure. Yeah, what's up, Rabona? How we doing? How your team's doing? How many BBMs and DK Millies did you sneak in? Just joined. Hell yeah. Yeah, I was talking about it in the beginning. I'll show you again too. Here's the portfolio just for Rabona to get a quick peek. So I am not a DraftKings drafter yet. I'm curious about it. I'm interested. I consume a lot of DraftKings drafting content because a lot of people in the community do it. But I've always just been doing my best ball teams on Underdog. And then I have some dynasty teams. And I branched out and did an FFPC team this year with Hartman, although we didn't advance out of our league. I have 9 teams out of 103 remaining on Underdog. And I've got 2 out of my 25 best ball manias. I had 5 that could have made it. And I ended up with 2, but it feels pretty good still to get those 2 through. Last year, I didn't have any teams in the best ball mania semifinal round. So I'm making progress. I did my first year in 2023 when I drafted some volume. I drafted 75 or maybe 79. It was 79 Best Ball Mania teams, and I honestly I have to check my receipts. I'm pretty sure I did have one get through to this semifinal round, and I didn't know how lucky that was at the time. So you take it for granted, and then last year didn't get one to it. How you looking, Rabona? What you got across your best ball manias and your DK Millies, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Make sure you slap the like on your way in. Come jump in the chat. Say what up. Let me know how your teams are doing. Thanks for being here on a Tuesday, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope that pod luck wasn't too rough. Yeah, exactly. We're all gonna lose anyways, but at the same time, this game is beatable. So you just got to get there. It only takes one. All of the best ball tropes and like the cornerstone phrases of being a best ball bro. This is when they apply. I mean, week 17 is all that matters. You guys know it. Trone Force, how we doing, my friend? Says he currently has a dart in Love. I like that. But the Vikings, which is somewhat tough, I would agree. Love has the Bears, the Bears are somewhat tough as well. And then Watson's out potentially. Would you drop Love for Bo Nix on waivers? I think I would potentially. Yeah, I think I would. That's interesting. What do you guys think? What do you guys think for Trone Force and his redraft team? Should he pick up Bo Nix? I kind of think I would. Also, at the same time, always start Jackson Dart. I mean, he put up 22 fantasy points again last week, and the dude is just he puts up points. I hear the pros draft and drive. Yeah, that's true. I can't say I fast draft and drive, but I might take a peek at a stoplight, and I'm way back, 30 cars back from the stoplight, and I'm just sitting there and it's red. I might take a peek at some of my slow drafts, if you know what I mean. But yeah, John, I'll pull up one or two of your teams. Just shoot me your underdog username in the chat, and I'll pull it up too. We can take a look and tell me what contest too. So let's wrap this one up. We got some nice running backs, the wide receivers, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Jordan Addison. And look, I got a hit from Addison into my lineup, and this is still my highest scoring team. It really just proves you need a few pieces. Of course, Kyle Pitts doesn't hurt, and Bo Nix is nice. The Travis Etienne was one of the biggest advancing pieces. It was Kyle Pitts and Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence. Those were three players that were on the most of the advancing or advanced on most of the teams they were rostered. And I'm sure a lot of them were in combination. I've got Leggett, which seems okay. He's at least alive. Same thing with Alec Pierce. Pretty skeptical with the Philip Rivers situation going forward. Darius Slayton, at least, he is active and playing. And then some Mark Andrews. It's been rough for the Ravens. So what do I have here? I'd have to look for my week 16 correlations. Let me do that though. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let me go here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up. I have the schedule on my other screen. I'll pull it into this screen. I kind of want to just quick run through the week 16 matchups. How does that look? That looks fine. I can make it a little bigger, I guess, because I want to think about the week 16 correlation that not that I drafted for it back in the summer, but kind of naturally you fall into some. So we have, of course, on Thursday, Rams at Seahawks. I don't think that team had any Rams or Seahawks on it. The one that I had, that first Best Ball Mania. The Saturday game coming up this week, Philly at Washington. I don't think I have any Philly pieces, but I do have Terry McLaurin there. Green Bay at Chicago. Of course, I've got my Caleb Williams stacked up with DJ Moore. Going up against Green Bay, it was a pretty tough defense. And also, I got Josh Jacobs. There you go. A natural week 16 bring back in that game stack. So I'm really looking forward to that now. for this team's sake in Best Ball Mania. It's going to be Caleb Williams throwing to DJ Moore and Josh Jacobs, which is essentially what happened last week. Josh Jacobs had a good week. DJ Moore and Caleb Williams had the connection. If Rome is out, it looks even better for DJ Moore. Nice. In the Sunday main slate, yeah, I know who hims. I do need T to play. We need T on this team. That's going to help. We'll hope that he can clear the concussion protocol. Buffalo at Cleveland. I don't have any players in that one. Chargers at Dallas. Again, none. KC at Tennessee, that game I was talking about. I have how many players in that one either? Oh, no, I have Pacheco. Yeah, it's Pacheco. So can Pacheco run it up on Tennessee? I think that's honestly a decent matchup for that kind of outcome. And with Mahomes out, maybe they lean on the run game even more. Cincinnati at Miami. I really want T to play in this game. Of course, T. Higgins coming back would be huge. Got New York at New Orleans. No one there. Minnesota at the New York Giants. I have Addison and Darius Slayton. So I do have some pieces in that game. Kind of interesting. Two kind of home run guys. Tampa Bay at Carolina for my Leggett piece, but nothing from Tampa Bay. It's a fine matchup. Jacksonville at Denver. So that's also interesting where now I have Bo Nix naked without any skill position players. But I do have Travis Etienne and for that game stack. So that's another one that I'll be definitely paying close attention to. Then we have Atlanta Falcons at Arizona Cardinals. I've got Kyle Pitts in this game and also Tyler Algier. So I think Algier can potentially have a good game against Arizona. We just saw Jawar Jordan put up 112 all-purpose yards in his very first game. He had 16 carries. I was there in person. I was at the game with the Emo Cowboy and the best ball guy on Sunday. Super fun time. And we saw the Texans just destroy the Cardinals defense. It was Nico with the very first possession, a big catch, touchdown. We saw Woody Marks go out of the game, and then the backup running back for the Texans, who hadn't had a single snap all season, right off the elevated from the practice squad, and he puts up over 100 total yards. And Dalton Schultz had a nice game too. I think Pitts against the Arizona Cardinals is a great spot to be in, and even Algier maybe getting enough touches to matter, maybe even scores a touchdown. So I think we can take advantage of that Arizona Cardinals defense, and I've seen it firsthand. I just saw it in Houston on Sunday, so that's pretty fun there. The no Parsons should help. Yeah, that's interesting too for the Packers, right? With what a blow to the Packers defense. Incredible. So that should help that should really help my Caleb Williams, his survivability and potentially having some more time in the pocket and making some bigger plays. Trent wants to know, would I drop Juwan Johnson for Pitts or Parkinson? I said, I think yes in the current situation. I haven't been focusing in on Juwan Johnson lately, but I mean, how can you ignore Pitts right now? I think Pitts has been on a roll with Kirk Cousins and getting a lot of usage. I want to say I heard on ETR earlier today that Adam said he has had 5 or more targets in consecutive games for a while, maybe even catches. I have to double check the stat, but I know what Parkinson's been doing. I've got Parkinson in one of my dynasty leagues, actually 2 of them. He has been on touchdowns. So I think because Parkinson's attached to the Rams, Matthew Stafford's competing for an MVP right now, and they're using Parkinson a lot, and he's a red zone target. I like him slightly ahead of Juwan Johnson just at the moment compared to the Saints, even though Shuck's kind of doing well. I have to double check exactly if I truly believe that he's a better start than Juwan Johnson, but I think my gut tells me he's at least, a good start. But then I'd honestly want Pitts the most if you can get him. Yeah, Pitts gets fed with Kirko Chains. Yeah, Perk Thuggins, a.k.a. Kirko Chains. Love to see it. Pittsburgh at Detroit. So Pittsburgh, a somewhat tough matchup, as we saw last night. At the same time, they did allow Achane to catch a lot of balls. a lot of checkdowns. So that's going to be good for my Jameer Gibbs, I think. I think it's an okay matchup. It could be a lot worse. How do I have left? I have Andrews. Andrews left Sunday Night Football against New England. Probably a tough matchup. I don't think I had any Texans or Raiders. And then I had Alec Pierce, and can Philip Rivers throw him the ball downfield? Probably not. So it looks like we are stuck a little bit on that one. It's going to be tough. And then San Francisco, I don't have any of those pieces. Who are the Panthers? No, I talked about that. Leggett. Leggett is going up with the Panthers against Tampa Bay, and that's a decent matchup, I think, to take advantage of. So that's what I'm considering my best ball mania team. I feel pretty good about it. Honestly, I think it's live, and I'm hopeful. Hopeful that something lucky can happen, something good can happen to that one. Only 2 official dead roster spots, and if T. Higgins comes back, I feel a lot more confident in this wide receiver group. At the same time, Terry, DJ Moore, Addison, that might just be enough if I can continue to flex a running back. Nice. We won't belabor the teams that are fallen, the dead teams. But again, this team here, I need a DK Metcalf to catch one more ball, or if the penalty hadn't been called in the first quarter of a holding, as he had already caught the ball and gotten the first down. This team would have been fun. It was definitely a Bijan JT Jacobs team. So good riddance, though. That's how it goes. Then this one here is my second advancing team. This is the one where I needed Achane not to score 2 more points, and it held out. The problem with this team, though, as you can see, so it's all up to Bo Nix. So Bo Nix is carrying this team. I have Michael Penix and Daniel Jones out for the season, unfortunately. I can only start one QB. I'm in the 40%. I bet that percentage has gone up now that we know Patrick Mahomes is out for the season. But man, it really is a big blow there to have only 1 out of 3 of my drafted QBs remaining at the same time. This is why we drafted 3 quarterbacks. It's from resiliency. We still got Bo Nix alive. On this team, though, it's a little bit more fun where I do have Cortland Sutton stacked up and Marvin Mims. So I've got 2 shots here with Bo Nix. The other team I advanced, he's naked. Here I've got him double stacked. And so that's at least a different little added element to keep it interesting, which is also really funny. This team also has T. Higgins. And I was definitely drafting T. Higgins in the 3rd round and then highlighting Bo Nix as I think it was like 8th, 9th round pick, wherever Bo Nix was going in that range. I have to look at a board. It's been a while. So that's really funny, though. I have T. Higgins just happens to be on both teams, and he didn't contribute at all. So what are the odds of that? I would have had stacked with Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson. There's no Pitts on this team and no other pass catchers from the Falcons, it looks like. And then I had Daniel Jones, who I drafted a fair amount of. I had him team stacked with Jonathan Taylor, which helped get me here because they both had a great season. And I had him stacked with Adonai Mitchell. You guys know what happened there. Adonai Mitchell gets traded to the Jets, still hits the lineup in week 15, which is fun. So the running backs, only 4 of the 5 are really relevant, with Jarquez Hunter not getting any game time action. It was Blake Corum you needed, not Jarquez Hunter. So we steered you wrong on that one back in the summertime. Bijan, JT, Breece Hall, Tony Pollard. Honestly, though, it feels like a nice hyper fragile build with 4 running backs that I could trust. Hasn't felt good about Pollard. Hasn't been a fun time with Pollard all season long, but he has one of his better games this season and had a nice week 14 as well, right? So there we go. Let's get those comments up here. So I feel good about these running backs. I think there's some good spots. that we could get some good usable, obviously hit the lineup with at least three of these guys. It's kind of what I'm banking on, given the wide receivers that I'm dealing with. I've got Cortland Sutton stacked up, Jacoby Myers, which he's been doing fine. He's been doing decent, right? And Trevor Lawrence, man. So I've got a piece attached to that. Trevor Lawrence on a heater. Cooper Kupp, I feel like I didn't draft really that much Cooper Kupp, so I'm surprised to see him here, but that's just how it goes. Luther Burden is a fun piece. It gives me some, value that my other team has a Caleb Williams with DJ Moore. Rome Odunze's out, and then this team also has Luther Burden on my other team, so that's covering some bases. Marvin Mims, you never know if he can hit the lineup like he did in Week 17 last year. Then it's fun. Torrey Horton out for the season. I was probably setting myself up with the Cooper Kupp, Torrey Horton, and then looking for Sam Darnold later. When I didn't get Sam Darnold, I pivoted and took Daniel Jones, if I remember this team. Also, I think one of the two teams, either this one or the last one, was streamed, or maybe even both of them. I can pull up my Underdog app. Actually, I'll do that now. I'll do it on my phone. I streamed, all summer long, and a bunch of my advancing teams were streamed because I didn't really do any slow drafts during the summer. I did really all fast drafts, and I streamed like probably close to half of all the drafts I did. So for the best ball mania teams remaining, I streamed only one of them. I streamed the first one with Gibbs. This second one I did late in August. So the first one was from August 16th from a stream that I did. And this one we're looking at right now is from August 25th. And if I remember correctly, I think I was getting back from vacation that week, and it must have been the middle of the week. So just not a night that I did a stream on. Adonai Mitchell in a good spot, and then the Brees. So I have a team stack there: Brees Hall and Adonai Mitchell with some Jets. Got lucked into that. Other than that, I have Dallas Goedert on this one, and I have Zach Ertz out. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dead roster spots. I've got 13 active players if T. Higgins comes back. This one's a little bit rough. This one needs a lot to happen. One tight end and one QB. That's going to hurt because I'm not going to be able to draw from a lot for those onesies. Got to make it count. I need big scores for my running backs. I think is what I need for this one. Oh yeah, you're right, John. That's kind of fun too. Yeah, if I get a shootout, the Broncos defense is pretty intimidating. The Jaguars have a nice offensive line though. Maybe it neutralizes that impact a little bit. I think the Jags defense is somewhat underrated as well. So I'm hoping it's not like a big defensive battle. I'm hoping these are just two powerhouse potential AFC playoff teams, and they clash a little bit. We get a little bit of a playoff preview, and it's a good high scoring game. So those are my two best ball mania teams. Let me know if you want me to pull up one of your best ball mania teams in the chat. Otherwise, let's go back to the portfolio and let's get into some of the other tournaments that I advanced in. I've got here a big board team. Only went 1 for 12 on the big board. In combination with going 0 for 16 on the little board. The funny thing about that is I didn't max the little board or the big board. I did 50 little boards and I advanced 16 out of 50. So I had my highest advance rate tournament was in fact the little board, and I didn't get a single one of them through to the semifinals. So that just kind of speaks to, it's there's a ton of variance in these teams that we're drafting, and anything can happen. The big board, I did 70 or maybe 75 big boards. Kind of wish I did a few more because it would be nice to have like 4 or 5 big board teams right now. Only got one through. Let's go look at that big board team. I think I like this team if I'm remembering it. Yeah. So I understand, why these teams didn't advance. It's only 147, 145. I think in the big board, you needed something around 165 on average. But I've got one of the higher scoring big board teams. I think it placed 141st overall, if that's what I'm reading into here. Seems nice. Huham saying that, yeah, the Jags defense is strong in the middle, not as strong on the edges. Okay. Okay. I'm looking forward to that matchup, though. That's one that I'm looking forward to. Oh, that's right. You can click it from the portfolio screen. That's a good idea. Let's see, because it's a little bit cleaner there. I totally forgot that was actually there. Good shout. Nope, it's exactly. It used to be just you saw your own team, but now it shows them both. Either way, this is good. All right. So this big board team put up almost 200 points. It's got Bo Nix and Caleb Williams. I mean, apparently I'm just drafting rookies and sophomores any chance I can get. You know me. Bo Nix and Caleb Williams on this one is just kind of deja vu, but at least I don't have a dead roster spot with a Michael Penix in this one or a Daniel Jones. I like this. I like Bo Nix and Caleb Williams right now this time of the year. So that's feeling nice. Bijan Robinson, awesome. Bucky Irving. I think we'll see some better days ahead for Bucky. I'm not too worried. I actually really like that I have him on my team because I'm curious how owned he's going to be in this tournament at this stage. Well, I guess this is the big board, but any tournament. Quinshon Judkins he's active. He's good. You know, he can hit the lineup for sure. DeAndre Swift team stacked with Caleb Williams is very fun, in my opinion. Rashard Smith, at least he is still active, and then another Jarquez Hunter. And this is big board, so you get 20 rounds. There's an extra 2 players, so that Jarquez Hunter 0 doesn't really hurt at all. This is the one though where I have a Dunze and DJ Moore. So I remember drafting this team. It's a double stacked Caleb Williams and DJ Moore. Let me see. Did I do this one on stream? Let me pull it up here. I did not do this big board on stream. But I drafted it on April 4th. So obviously Rome Odunze's out. I've got DJ Moore at least. I also have stacked up Cortland Sutton with my Bo Nix. Is pretty cool. So a big team bet on the Bears here with Moore, Swift, and Caleb Williams. Matthew Golden, I could be fine. I mean, now Christian Watson's out. There's going to be targets up for grab. Maybe he hits when it counts. Maybe, you know, if Matthew Golden puts up like a 15 or a 20 point week in either week 16 or 17, it'll all be worth it. Still overpriced. Still unfortunate, kind of the run out that's gone there. But Hollywood Brown out. Don't love to see that. Alec Ayomenor, at least he's alive. Same thing with Mitchell. Troy Franklin stacked. So I have a double stacked Bo Nix and a double stacked Caleb Williams. You love to see it. Also had, actually, it was a triple stack at one point because I had Devon Vele. This is the single, I want to say this is the only Devon Vele I drafted in all of 2025. An anecdote, he burned me in my home league in 2024. I started him in my flex in my home league, and he put up a 0. And I want to say it was week 14, I want to say, because I needed to advance, or maybe he caught one pass or did 10 yards, but essentially he goose egged in week 14, and I needed to win that to go to the playoffs in my home league. I needed 1 point, and he did not hit. And I want to say it was either a Sunday night game or a Monday night game because it felt like it was the end of the slate, and he was the only player left that mattered, and I was sweating it out. So I pretty much blocked that out, and I had blacklisted Devon Vele, but apparently on this one I drafted him. I just could not ignore the triple stack with Bo Nix. And now he's traded to the Saints. I think he's still alive though. It puts up 9.4 in week 15. I've got Dallas Goedert and Kyle Pitts on this one, and then Cole Kmet. So they're another stacking partner, another Bears piece. The Pitts, the Goddard feels amazing to have. So this is my big board team. It's got 3 players, 3 players I don't expect to hit the lineup, but otherwise looking pretty fun. Some heavy bets on the Bears and the Broncos for my portfolio going forward. Bijan and Bucky. I don't think the Best Ball Manias had Bijan and Bucky. No, this one did. This one had this one did have Bijan. That's right, because it was stacked. The second one, that's why I was thinking of it. So I'm looking for a pretty good week at a Bijan to feel good about my teams. Didn't advance any German Shepherds after going 9 out of 20. The German Shepherd was actually, I said little board, but the German Shepherd was, I had like 40%, 45% advance rate, whatever that is. And none of those went forward. So my two best contests as of last week, the little board and the German Shepherd, not a single team through. The puppy, I've got 2 puppies left and I'm so happy. I think I want to say I drafted 50 puppies or 43 puppies. I didn't go overboard on the puppy. I do wish I did a little bit more puppies, but getting 2 to semifinals still feels really good. Let's go look at those teams. And they're not high scoring either. So this is some luck. I would call this pretty lucky. 158 seems pretty low score there. This one, let me see if I streamed it and or what date did I draft it on? So this one was drafted on May 3rd. It was not streamed. The other puppy I advanced was drafted on May 13th and it was streamed. So this one's going to be we've got Brock Purdy, Bryce Young, and Jackson Dart. I mean, Bryce Young is totally fine. I really like the Brock Purdy and Jackson Dart combo. Having 3 healthy quarterbacks is a huge plus. So I'm feeling really good about this puppy at least. I mean, it's looking like a great start. Let's see how it wraps up. McCaffrey stacked up with Purdy, Travion Henderson, Tony Pollard, incredible. Rashad White, it's fine. Woody Marks, we'll see what's going on. It's not great. The ankle injury. I hope they don't put him on like IR or they don't just rest him, because I would really like to have one more after McCaffrey and Henderson, one more guy competing to hit the lineup against Pollard. Pollard this week going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. You don't love that matchup. But overall, having 5 healthy running backs also feels very nice here. I've got Nico Collins. Love to see it. So a little bit of a team bet there on the Texans with Mark and Collins. I've got Devontae Adams. Should be fine. Let's make sure he's healthy and everything. T-Mac stacked up with Bryce Young. At least he's stacked. I've got the connection there, if anything. But it's been slow lately. Not good. Juwan Jennings is nice with Brock Purdy. Another San Francisco bet there. Love to see it. Shakir, why not? Jalen Noel seems okay. Seems fine. I mean, it's another team stacked piece of the Texans. Noel's more active as a punt returner and on special teams, but he can potentially get in there if something happens. Darius Slayton to stack up with Dart. See it. I can see it. So there's some connection there. Oh, nice. I also have Theo Johnson for the double stacked Dart. I do really like that. We know that Dart has been targeting the tight ends at a high clip. At least he was early in the season when he started starting. And I think just having more options for him, because I think Dart could be a big piece that advances people this week. We look at the matchup the Giants have, and I think I scored right. Minnesota. It's not the best matchup. It's pretty tough. But Dart has been able to get it done. It feels like in fantasy points, he's been able to get it done in every game this year, regardless of the matchup. So, and then Colston Loveland, Dallas Goedert, Theo Johnson. This team is fully live. Woody Marks is the only question mark, no pun intended. And I think I like this team a lot. It's just stacked well. There's some team bets. And yeah, so that's the first puppy there. Let's take a look at this second one. This is from a streamed draft in May 13th. I've got Jared Goff, CJ Stroud, and Sam Darnold. Again, kind of sick, kind of really nice how these quarterbacks ended up. They're all healthy. They're all hitting right now, putting up some big scores. Darnold, has some rough patches, but Goff and Stroud both firing in week 15, putting up some points. Another Gibbs team through, and he stacked with Goff, so I love that. Achane on this one, incredible. Got Hendo again. I drafted a ton of Henderson. I think I had 16% Henderson, if I'm not mistaken, across all contests, something around there. So I'm not too surprised to see him on this lineup, given his 29-point game in week 15 and how much I drafted him. So I love to see that. Isaac Guerendo, pretty sure he is non-existent. Another Woody Marks, and goes with CJ Stroud in this one. So that is interesting how many Marks teams I've gotten through in the puppy. Didn't expect that. I feel like I didn't draft a whole ton of Marks, but this was back in May, and I think we're just kind of taking shots on the rookies back then. So he comes through on this puppy. Gibbs, Achane going to be unique. I hope so. I hope, Achane, like for all of our sakes, Achane gets healthy and just Gibbs, Achane's going to be fun. And then the Henderson, if Marks is healthy, he's a nice piece. So I like this team a lot so far. I have JSN stacked with Darnold. Incredible. Devonta Smith is a really good piece. He can so easily hit your lineup in a flex or as your wide receiver 2 or 3. JMO stacked with Goff in this one. So I have the Goff, Gibbs, JMO stack. Jaden Reed, he's finally back. So that'll start to factor in a little bit. Maybe even with Christian Watson potentially hurt, it seems like. Egbuka is nice. Love to see that, even though he's had kind of maybe some slower weeks scoring. And I also have Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel stacked up with Stroud on this one too. So a lot of Texans, big team bet on the Texans. The Texans, again, are going up against Las Vegas this week at home. This seems like a smash spot for the Texans players. So seeing Texans on your roster, even though Woody Marks is banged up, let's just cross our fingers. But having Texans on your rosters, I think could be nice this week. They seem to be on a roll. Their defense is putting them in a lot of good positions, and they're picking up some momentum. They got another home game in the Dome at NRG right over there. I feel like might want to get some tickets to that game and just show up. Although actually, I'm going to be in Austin this weekend, so I'll be watching it. We've got, from my couch, we've got Colston Loveland, Pat Fryermuth, and Dalton Schultz. Okay, I was trying to figure out what we're doing there with Colston Loveland and Fryermuth on this one. I guess just taking shots. Pretty sure that's before the Johnny Smith trade happened in May, so Fryermuth was still a valuable tight end, borderline tight end one piece. Dalton Schultz, Higgins, Knoll, Woody Marks, all with Stroud. Very interesting. This team is alive. I mean, there's like no dead pieces. You could say Guerendo, I think, is like the most dead piece on it, but this is another fun team. So I'm excited about my big board team. Pretty excited about my best ball mania teams, and these puppy teams are actually not bad at all. What else we got? The Pomeranian 3. Some are saying this is Underdog's second flagship contest. So I'm very honored to be moving forward in the Pomeranian 3. Pom 3, I've got Russell Wilson out for this season. Yikes. People told me not to draft Russell Wilson and to draft more dart. I feel like I drafted a little bit of both, but I definitely didn't go overboard on the dart like I could have and should have. I think I was a little bit more skeptical, thinking the Giants would use the Patriots playbook and that dart would have been sitting the same way May sat for a while and maybe even longer. But no, it was not meant to be. At least I've got Mayfield and Lawrence here. Lawrence is just a guy right now, right? Enough said. But then Harvey, we'll see what his status is. Mason, not really hitting for us. ETN stacked up with Lawrence. That made us money. That's the moneymaker right now. The week 15 pairing you want to have. Scattaboo on this one. RIP Scattaboo. Would have been nice. Would have loved to have that on this team, that piece. Obviously, would have been stacked up with Wilson and some other universe. Rashad White probably helped us get here and might not do too much going forward. We'll see. There's always a chance that he has a relevant game. Some Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. So the running backs here are pretty suspect. Harvey healthy and ready to go. I'm feeling better about if it's him, potentially Mason still getting some carries. ETN feels good right now, and then Bill feels all right now. It's just, can we get some more big plays out of him? Yeah, what's up, BK GJ? Went 49ers and a bunch, 2 stacks from AFC on DK. Nice. Yeah, Niners, stacking up the Niners. I think that's a strong move. Nah, not the playoff best ball yet. I'm just going through the playoff, but I know what you're talking about. I'm going through the playoff advancing playoff teams, and we looked at all the tournaments, Best Ball Mania, the big board, the puppy. Now we're getting into the Pomeranian 3, a great contest. I drafted this team we're looking at now on August 18th. August 18th, and I did not stream it. Yeah, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. All right, so on this team, running backs are fine. Running backs can survive. The wide receivers, I've got Puka Nakua. Hell yeah. Brian Thomas stacked up with Trevor Lawrence. Doesn't hurt. Mike Evans stacked up with Baker Mayfield. Love to see it. Ibuka for the double stack. Christian Kirk. I don't know. Alec Pierce doesn't feel good with Philip Rivers. Adonai Mitchell, at least he's on a different team now and hitting the lineup, actually. So that's interesting. George Kittle, sweet. Juwan Johnson, just fine. So there's only really Russell Wilson and Cam Scatterby as the dead pieces on this team. Maybe you could throw in. We're not. No, everything else looks good, actually. So this is a double stacked Baker Mayfield and Lawrence with Brian Thomas and ETN. It's so a double stack there. This is fun. It's a fun little Palm 3. Put up a ton of points with that Trevor Lawrence and ETN combo, and just a random assortment of wide receivers. I mean, Puka, of course. Mike Evans and Brian Thomas did good. And Kittle becoming relevant again. And Bill becoming relevant again. So it's really interesting. Ladd, Omarion, Etienne, and Thomas, and one more. They say pick 5 from a team, but I don't know. It'll be duped a lot probably. Yeah, so I don't know if you caught the stream last week I did on Tuesday with Cody from Off the Schneid. He loves playoff best ball, the format, the tournaments that are open right now. He's excited to be drafting some, and he's going to be streaming some soon. I think he's just kind of waiting for another week of information, and he's going to really dive in. But he loves the format. I don't do a ton of the playoff best ball drafts. I'm interested though, and definitely if I have guests on again like Cody or even Hames or whoever wants to get into it, I'm down to draft some teams with them. But it is fun though, trying to galaxy brain on the optimal strategy. Obviously, you got to have a team that gets to the Super Bowl. It wouldn't hurt to have both teams in the Super Bowl in some combinations, but even then, having some players who got you there, like having Nico Collins or Ladd McConkey last year, still could have helped propel your team to advance out of the wild card round. And sometimes you need something like that. So it's a really fun tournament to think about for sure. Yeah, the changing environment, and now Patrick Mahomes. I guess the Chiefs were already not so drafted, but things are changing. Ooh, an FFPC playoff team. Yeah. Huham, you have to share the details on that. I'm interested. Buka and then 2 Pitt, Metcalf, and Gainwell. Yeah, Gainwell right now is really interesting. Really, really interesting. The Steelers are interesting. Gainwell, man. So that was my Palm 3 team. We keep going here. I only have one of my Dalmatians remaining. I advanced 2 out of my 3 Dalmatians originally. I've got 1 Dalmatian left. So, I mean, hey, who's complaining? And look at the score it put up. The Dalmatian's such an interesting contest. I only needed to hit 126 to advance this team. So you don't need a whole lot. Kind of the benefit of doing this $101 entry. It's a smaller field tournament. You don't quite have to have the nuts to get it done, as they say. Yeah, what up, Hude? Speaking of hitting the nuts, almost hit the nuts on my best ball mania team this week. Check out number 6 on week 15 overall ladder and let me know what you think. It feels really good for now. Hell yeah, let's jump right into it. Yeah, if you guys want me to look up some of your teams, I'm happy to jump into it. We've got it open. Let me just finish up this Dalmatian, and I'm gonna go right to looking up Huday's number 6 on the leaderboard best ball mania team. I'm excited to see what that looks like. I'm guessing Trevor Lawrence, of course, ETN with a stack, maybe even Brian Thomas, some Kyle Pitts, maybe some Trey McBride, maybe some Goddard. Sometimes you get 2 tight ends in your lineup. This is a Bo Nix, again, another Bo Nix team for me. JJ McCarthy, it's fine. Anthony Richardson, dead. JT, I like it. Advanced him. Josh Jacobs, good. Scatterboot, dead. Ray Davis, why were we drafting Ray Davis? I didn't draft a lot of Ray Davis all summer long. I was like 1 or 2%. I'm embarrassed I have any. I don't know what's going on there. They don't use him at all. Crazy. Terrible run out. Tank Bigsby, a pretty bad run out too for what we thought his potential was going into the year during the summer. At the same time, I've got Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs. Maybe that's all you need. Justin Jefferson stacked up with 9 with JJ McCarthy. Yikes. Don't sign me up for that next year. Jameson Williams looking like a fun piece. Zay Flowers finally hits good. Golden, could be better. Higgins, he's had a couple scoring weeks. Alec Pierce with, again, Alec Pierce was one of my top 5 drafted players across all positions. So I'm not surprised to see him on a lot of my lineups, but it just sucks that it's with Phillip Rivers now. He was really getting something going in the middle of the season there. Keenan Allen is fine. Franklin, nice and stacked with Bo Nix. So I do like that. I've got Laporta out and a JT Sanders. Please help. So this Dalmatian team, it's not in the best shape. It does have some interesting pieces. Let's go back to the Best Ball Mania leaderboard. We can do it here. We'll just sort for the Best Ball Mania. Here we are on bbmdb.com. Everyone uses it. Everyone knows. Shout out to Patrick Donovan. And if you are here, if you'd advanced some teams to week 15, to week 16, you made it through, and you're sweating them on this website, I think you owe Patrick a little coffee there. Shout out to him. And I love using his website, so I love to support him. The 6th team overall, we got Hude here. Oh my God. 220 fantasy points. Advanced by over 60 points. Let's check this bad boy out. Yes, we called it right. Trevor Lawrence, but hey, you had Purdy too. That's pretty cool. You probably still would have advanced if you didn't have Trevor Lawrence hit and you just had Purdy. It looks like you still would have advanced based on your margin there. Oh, Huhames. Yes, I did a modified version of this with Nez last year. Nez I don't know if he's doing it this year, but last year he hosted a playoff best ball tournament that is this format where you essentially pick one player from every team and then there's like multipliers throughout. I think is a similar format. So yeah. I like that. BK. I like that combo we were going with on for San Fran. I think that'd be a fun way to play it with those outcomes. LAC, yeah, the Chargers. Yeah, I see what you're saying. A-Rich is cleared to practice, by the way. Dude, if he comes back and is the guy you need, holy smokes. What a storyline. Be incredible. Yo, what up? Top 5. How we doing? I'll get to your question in just a sec, but let's finish looking at Huday's insane run out in his best ball mania right here. Shout out to you, man. This is a sick team. James Cook, Love it. I mean, one of the top 5 running backs this season, and I feel like he's still going undervalued and he's going underappreciated, but I've been seeing the big weeks, the high floor, super high floor, and he puts up a 30 bomb in week 15. Chuba Hubbard, hey, he's active. Aaron Jones, he's active too. Tracy, surprisingly a nice piece at this point in the season. So that's a nice, he's still active. Like to see that. Tough matchup against the Vikings this week, but you do have, the Aaron Jones, Tracy combo right there. So it's interesting. Travis Etienne, love it. Keaton Mitchell, hey, he's getting snaps, so could be worse. You have 6 live running backs, 2 live quarterbacks. This team is very healthy. Brian Thomas, I called that one as well. I called the Brian Thomas, Etienne, Trevor Lawrence stack, and I called the Pitts, but very nice team, man. So Brian Thomas is a good combo here for you. Puka, awesome. So you went Puka, Thomas, and then it looks like you took, I want to say either Pickens or Cook. I'd probably guess maybe you took Cook, depending on what time of the year you drafted this team. Could have been Pickens, though. Good run out. Pickens, advancing him, I think, is awesome because he's been in a slump, but we know what he is. Pearsall might be the only guy who truly might not be active for you next week, so that's kind of a bummer, but not that bad. Leggett, fine, he's active. Alec Pierce, you have the same problem. He's got to get anyone but Philip Rivers throwing him the ball, right? It sounds like Anthony Richardson could be the solution. Michael Wilson is a sick piece here. Wasn't going to have a huge day against the Texans. Shut down D. Yoshi Voss, why not? Probably just kind of a rare throw-in piece there. And it's interesting that he goose-egged when T. Higgins was out. So I don't know much about that. Pitts, of course, and then Strange. Practically a fully healthy, fully active team. A 2-6-8-2 build. Very, very nice. Love to see it. It's a good team. I hope I'm not in your pod. That's all I have to say. Top 5KW wants to know. Half PPR, set the lineup. Pretty standard. 1 quarterback, 2 receivers, 2 running backs, tight end, flex. You got Purdy and Nix. Based on the matchups this week, where Nix is playing Jacksonville, it's somewhat tough, but at least he's at home. Purdy is playing the Colts. It's close. That's really close. Coin flip, honestly. Maybe follow the hot hand with Nix. I think Purdy's a little bit safer. That's a tough one. You've got Sutton, so it's kind of fun to go Nix and Sutton there. It just worked for you if you started him last week. Michael Wilson, I think, has a better chance this week against the Falcons, so I would be interested in Michael Wilson. Egbuka is fine. I don't know if Marv's going to be playing this week. We'll see. Maybe he plays. Brian Thomas Jr., I think, is also a fun piece with Trevor Lawrence on a heater. So if you're starting 2 wide receivers, I'd probably go Brian Thomas Jr. and then either Michael Wilson, slight favor over Sutton. But if you want to go Sutton with your Knicks, I could see that. And then Egbuka is like my first man out. And then if Marv plays, you're in a tough spot where you have to decide between Michael Wilson and Marv. And I think you do want to start one of them at least, because the way Jacoby Brissett has been slinging the rock, like 45 dropbacks a game. Insane. Running backs, you're covered, man. You got Bijan and Achane, and you don't have to worry about it. For your flex, throw in ETN. Your tight end, let's throw in Waller, I guess. With Warren getting the Philip Rivers treatment and San Francisco being a pretty decent defense, I'm a little bit afraid of that. Waller just showed us what he can do. Don't forget it. He's also playing the Cincinnati Bengals this week. They give up on average 21 fantasy points to tight ends of the opposing team. So hope that helps. Top 5KW. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you. Make sure you slap the like, everyone who's watching. And if you have any sit starts, let me know. We're going to keep going through the portfolios. And let me know if you have any teams in Best Ball Mania or whatever on Underdog you want me to review. We're here on bestballmaniadatabase.com, BBMDB. For defense wise, I think the Chiefs are interesting there because they get to play the Tennessee Titans. You could probably make a pretty good argument for the Saints against the New York Jets. Those are the two that I would think about. Probably the way I would go with that. Bills D. Wait, I'm blanking. Who are the Bills playing then? Oh, Cleveland. Well, okay. That's fair. You could do the Bills D against Cleveland, just given the amount of turnovers we're going to expect from Shedeur, I guess. Yeah. Who Hames had it first? I mean, I should have just read off this because this is spot on, but you get wisdom from both of us. I like this team, BK. I like this a lot. I think it's fun. Yeah, good luck, man. To you as well. Thank you. Yeah, Tracy gonna smash, and then the Raiders proves this Cowboys were right. It is fun to get Pierce all through. I thought I saw some bad news on him today, but maybe I'm mistaken. The getting Pickens through is sick. Yeah, that's a sick team. John says, "Can you read my HN puppy team at John Frondano?" Yes, sir. Yeah, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for being here. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's gonna be a puppy. John Frondano. Boom. Oh, we got 3 puppies. Look at you. Fancy. Okay. The top one, the A-Chan puppy team. Let's find it. I bet it's probably it might be one of the lower ones considering it's A-Chan, but we'll find out. Okay, here's one of them. This is probably it. Let me know if it's not it. Drake May and Jackson Dart. Sick. Honestly, the fact that you have Geno Smith out doesn't bother me at all. But it sucks to have a dead roster spot. Everyone essentially almost everyone has a dead QB on one of their teams. But Drake May and Dart, that's really interesting. Gibbs, Achane, Cook, and Henderson, the hyper fragile. The rare hyper fragile with no injured running backs. Not only that, you have 4 of what I would say are the top 10 running backs on the season. Maybe TreVeyon Henderson sneaks into that top 10. He's honestly, if you look at like the recent weeks, he fits better into this list because of the slow start that Hendo had. But you're running pure on these running backs right now. I can't think of a better top 3 than to have Gibbs, Achane, and Cook. And then you have the resiliency that you've got TreVeyon Henderson. So like assume these guys hit your running back and flex, but then you have like the home run swing of the Henderson. So this team, I can tell why you're excited about it. This team fucks, dude. TreVeyon with Drake May too is another added element, which is fun. JSN, nice. Reed, fine. Downs, fine. Pittman, honestly, good. Besh, Kirk, Palmer, Wandale, good and stacked with Dart. Darius Slayton, double stack. Kittle, very nice. And then Okonkwo is fine. He's healthy. So, yeah, dude, this team is sick. You've got your flex 100% covered by a running back. Just can any 3 of these wide receivers, by the way, they're all active. The only one that's not really playing a lot right now is, I guess, Kirk, just running wind sprints. I feel like I didn't see Kirk on the field a whole lot on Sunday when I was there, but he wasn't inactive, I don't think. He just put up 0. But, I mean, for between this group of wide receivers, can you get 3 to hit the lineup? And how much do you even need from them? Like you saw last week, you put up 154 with some minimal contributions from the wideouts. So I like this team, and this is fun. Very nice, John. I hope I'm not in your puppy pod as well. Yeah, what's up, Aaron? What's up? Bowers, Waller, or Parkinson? You gotta go Bowers. We gotta go Bowers. We can't bench Bowers. It's just, I know it's the Texans. I know it's got messed up QB situation. Let me know in the chat. Would you actually start Waller over Bowers? And maybe it's the best matchup because it's the Bengals. Tua only looks for, the 6'6" Darren Waller in the red zone. So maybe it's closer than I'm thinking, but I mean, you're in a good spot where you have both on your team. But I'm still gonna go Bowers, man. You drafted Bowers for a reason. One of your top draft picks. You got to start him, right? Yeah, that team is sick, brother. I don't want to be in your pod. Gino's able to go. Okay. But not sure if they let him. Right. Right. No way. That's what you were saying, right? I didn't even catch that. So you put up a really good score and it's a really good team. Your wide receivers kind of let you down, but Achane catching that last ball with 30 seconds left, that's awesome. That's the sweats that make it worth it. You got to have that roller coaster ride, pulling off that nice victory last night. So whatever happens in week 16, at least you've got that experience, and that's part of the fun of drafting all these teams. I've got a little board too. I'm actually kind of interested to pull it up here. The little board two is the one that didn't fill, and I only did a few of them. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bryce Young, 3 live quarterbacks, and could be worse. Drake May is pretty nice. I honestly I like that. Caleb Williams, Drake May, this is good. Jahmyr Gibbs, Achane, Hampton, Etienne, Ford, he's out. Jalen Wright. This team this is fun. Hampton coming back, had a bad week, but he's back. And the Chargers you just want a running back on the Chargers, and it's going to be Hampton. Etienne piece. Not a whole lot of correlation here on these running backs, except I have the whole current backfield. Ollie Gordon's still getting some snaps, but at least there's some resiliency there. I'm pretty sure Jalen Wright helped me get through here with what he did in week 14, but week 15 back to Achane. Yeah. Yeah, that team was pretty sick. Yeah, what up, Hulk Smash? How we doing, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope your week 15 went well. Hope you're looking forward to week 16. So yeah, I'm liking this little board too. 20 round draft, pre NFL draft for context. Didn't know where Hampton was going to be. Ended up a Charger. Ended up being fine, except for the whole injury this season. I've got DJ Moore stacked up with Caleb Williams, Cortland Sutton. It's a nice piece there. Chris Olave is a nice piece here. Not really stacked up, but fun. Jalen McMillan, he's healthy again. That's good. Trey Harris before he went to the Chargers, but hadn't been much of a factor this year. Kyle Williams, before he was a Patriot, randomly lucked into a Drake May stack. I think he hit the lineup probably once, but Wandale is fine. Matt Collins is a Patriot, so more than none Matt Collins stacks with Drake May, I think is fine. Olamide Zaccheaus is a Bear, and he plays with Caleb Williams, and he does play, so he's better than nothing. Laporta injured sucks, and again, JT Sanders ruining this team, but tight end doesn't matter unless it's Kyle Pitts or Trey McBride or Brock Bowers or Kittle or Goddard or Schultz or for the first half of the season, Jake Ferguson. But other than that, tight end doesn't matter. And will tight end matter in week 16? But we're going to find out. It mattered a hell of a lot in week 15. Essentially decided everyone's fate was what tight end did you draft? Which is sad, but also part of it and kind of fun. Little board 2 team. I don't know how I feel about this one. The running backs are disgustingly awesome. The wide receivers are fine. It's the tight end that could sink me there. And then the best for last, the bigger board. I advanced one of my bigger board teams. I think just one of one. So I advanced my only bigger board team. Only needed 136 points. It's one of the benefits of drafting these smaller field, relatively smaller, large field tournament teams with the higher entry fee. Hey, there he is. What's up, Hartman? How we doing, brother? Good to see you. Hope you've had some good luck with your teams, my man. I know you're killing it with the rookies and sophomores. Can't wait to see some of those teams, some of those crazy rookies and sophomores you cooked up tomorrow when we stream. Tomorrow night, I'm going to stream with Who Hames and Hartman going live late tomorrow night. So make sure you tune in. Brutal run out. Time to prep for the 2026 pre-draft. Haha. Okay, good. Not good. Didn't mean that the wrong way. Not good. Sorry for your teams, brother. Good in a sense that I'll know who to turn to in about a week when my teams are all dead. You'll be 1 week ahead of me on prep for 2026. So that's good for me that I have someone who's already getting on it. So, I mean, I'm right there. I when BBG was here over the weekend, he and I spent practically all Saturday just doing hypotheticals and talking about 2026, which is why when we went live on Saturday night, we did the whole rounds 1 and 2 2026 ADP. I posted it on my Twitter. I might post an image of it here on YouTube for everyone to see as well, because I know some people here on YouTube aren't on Twitter or X. But it was really fun. And so the whole thing is like, where do you think Puka goes? Is he a top 5 pick? Is he a top 3 pick in 2026? Where do you think Jonathan Taylor goes? Do you think Brock Bowers goes, as high as he was going this last year? Or is Trey McBride a first round pick? Does Neighbors fall a little bit, or is he still, a first round pick? So we talked about those kind of things. It's really fun. But yeah, definitely almost time to get ready for pre-draft. Yeah, Zacchaeus might be relevant. I drafted a little bit of Zacchaeus just because Zacchaeus had 15, I want to say, fantasy points in week 17 last year for the Commanders, and it was relevant and was a good piece and was a top 12 wide receiver in half point PPR in week 17 last year. And so I know Zacchaeus he's a veteran. Coaches trust him. He can earn snaps. He can earn targets. So I drafted a little bit of him. What would the Nuts pick draft be like first 7 rounds? So knowing what we know now. Exactly. Yeah, that's a fun thought experiment. That's like a great question to do in week 17 once we have all the results, or maybe even in after week 7 or after week 16, so we know what team you needed just to get into week 17. And then in week 17 we can do it again and see like what you would need to win. So what we can do is we'll look at a draft board that's just like ADP sorted, and then we can recreate a team based on players you would have been able to get, at least in about 50 or 60% of draft boards in the range they went in. Assuming the team that wins isn't just some super unique team where they got a huge falling value a couple times. And then we can compare it to like the winning week 17 team and see, what would you have needed to draft it. That's a fun thought experiment. I'll have to save that for later. Have to remind me on that one. We'll come back to that idea. Yeah. As soon as week 17 is over, I'm starting my next year prep. Who Hames, you're going to be 2 weeks behind Hulk Smash. So not good enough. Step your game up, Who Hames. Yeah, what's up, Bryson? Can we expect pre-draft lobbies actually? When can we expect them? Yeah, I think soon. I think pretty damn soon. If not, like, I mean, what? It's the 16th, like 3 weeks. Yo, FK, what's up, brothers? What's up, brother? CMC, Achan, JT, Allen, if possible. Yeah, if possible, that'd be a fun team. FK, I saw you in the scramble streets today. I was on my lunch break. I was going for a walk, getting some fresh air, and about to pick up my lunch. And I saw I joined the scramble and they never fill. And so I put it in my pocket. The fast ones, the slow ones fill. The fast ones don't really fill that quickly. I put it in my pocket. I'm walking. My pocket starts vibrating. I have the 101. So I take Scotty Scheffler. Who do I see in the 5 spot? FK. So yeah, 40 deep in the scramble. Catch up, brother. I've done 65 or something. I've done 60 or 65, but I'm doing a lot of slows. I'm doing almost always slows. I do about 2 to 3 slows a day, and then 1 to 0 fast per day, maybe 2 fast if I'm lucky. But yeah, man, going deep. Gonna pause a little bit. Going deep right now. bro. FK, I'll share. I'll share it with all of you, but maybe FK wants to see it. Let me do this real quick. Um, Let me pull open my PGA best ball sheet. Boom. It's brighter than I want it to be. It's fine. I'll zoom out a little bit. It's still brighter than I want it to be, but FK, here's my Google sheet. I'm tracking ADPs and I'm tracking all of this stuff. The ranks. I'm doing my own ranks. I'm following the ADPs. And so like Hall started off at uh Hall started off at ADP 59. He's risen 43.9 spots. His current ADP is 15.1. He rose 33 spots in the first week, 7.5 spots the second week. He's still risen 3 spots in the last week. So I'll share it with FK because he's a homie, but I've been tracking all this stuff, and I was pretty heavily exposed to a lot of the guys that have risen a ton, like Spawn, Ben Griffin, Harry Hall. I had ranked Ben Griffin as my 102 pretty much after the first 24 hours of when these drafts opened. We won't get in too deep to it because we're still finishing up the football best ball season. But once football's over, I'll stream some golf streams. I might try to connect um with some other golf content creators and do some fun stuff. Some of the guys who are doing the scrambles. And yeah, so I'm keeping track of the ADPs. I've got my rankings. I've got some other sheets in that Google sheet where I have some data, some intel and stuff. But man, I'm having fun. The last thing I need to do, I need to finish my research on some of the course history. And I've done it for a couple of the tournaments early on in the first leg, but yeah, man, I'm pumped. I love the scramble. I love the albatross. PGA best ball is so fun. It is the only other best ball sport that I do other than football with any kind of volume and certainty and passion and results. So yeah. Yeah, there's always some guys that defect to live. When we saw Sung Jae Im and Siwoo Kim were potentially defecting to live. Here, one sec. I'm back. Had to let my dog out real quick. She's giving me a signal. She need to go outside. Golf. Golf is fun. There's always guys who defect to live, but last year was Tom McKibben. I was drafting a little bit of him, but yeah, the Siwoo scare, the Sung Jae scare. I don't know. I still think there's a chance Siwoo Kim could defect to live, but probably not. Right? Maybe though. Still kind of scared. Nice, nice. Round 7, Kyle Pitts optimal. Hartman, do you think Kyle Pitts goes in round 1 or round 2 next year? Thought experiment for you. And will we have 0% Kyle Pitts? Yeah, that'd be a fun start. Gibbs, Achane, Jason, JMO, I think is a really fun start. The way it's powering down the stretch here, powering a lot of teams. Yeah, who is too slow? He's a week behind, 2 weeks behind. Yeah, 1 hour before that first championship game. It's some sicko stuff. I didn't draft my first big or little board until after the Super Bowl. Or no, is that right or is that wrong? I'll have to check the tapes. I'll have to check. I'm pretty sure I waited. Although I feel like I remember drafting some teams uh in that time frame. So probably honestly did not wait. Yeah, 40 deep in the scramble. Hell yeah, we talked about it. Pause for a little while. Yeah, I think the ADPs are slowing down. All of the early ADP value could have gotten. There's not too much changes. There's still some guys who are rising. Some of the non-Siggy guys, the guys who aren't in the signature event, some of them are still rising a little bit. And a lot of the guys who are in signature events who aren't very good are falling a bunch. I think ADP in the scramble doesn't matter too much. It really just is allows you to either be able to get a player or not. But I think you can do some crazy things. You can get I've gotten some big fallers. I've gotten players who have fallen like from ADP 20 to 40 to pick 40 and things like that. So there's some fallers. And when it's only a 6-team draft, like people, if everyone's just out on a certain golfer or doesn't want him or doesn't want the combination with other golfers they have, a guy can really fall, is what I've noticed. And then also people reach up a lot. Like you'll see Aaron Rye will sometimes go in the second round or like the very beginning of the third. He's risen a bunch. You'll see people take Spieth anywhere from pick 20 to pick 40. How do I figure out this scramble alpha? Hartman, it's simple. You have to know ball, brother. You just got to know ball. Or just auto draft some teams. Get lucky. That's what some people will do with it. Set some ranks. Yeah, the live surprise signers. Yo, what's up, Crossface? How we doing? What's up? What's up? Little board 2 is your personality now. I can see that. I might turn into the Pomeranian 3 next week. Yeah, FK. So last year, I think I had just 2 teams in the scramble final, and essentially one of them like did just decent, and I think my best one did 20th overall in the scramble. I broke even. My scramble paid for my scrambles and my albatrosses, which I essentially maxed both of them, but actually I was only able to get in 120 or 119 scrambles last year because it closed on Christmas and I was busy, obviously stuff going on. If I remember correctly, or maybe it was Christmas, I'm pretty sure. The albatross, I've done it for 2 seasons now. My first season, when I maxed the albatross in 2020, because we're in 2026 for golf, but in 2024, 2 seasons ago for the albatross, I got 5th in the albatross, and I woke up on Sunday in 2nd, and I was in 1st for a sweat, and then I kind of fell out of it, and some weird things happened. But I had Bryson DeChambeau and Xander Schauffele on my final team. That I had 3 teams in the finals for the albatross that season. Had 0 teams in the albatross finals last year, which sucked. But I had 3 teams in the finals for the albatross in 2024. I got 5th. I want to say 30th or like 23rd or something, and then another team that did like, I don't know, 70th or whatever, or 90th. So that covered, that's pretty, I mean, that was a big win. That was pretty sweet. So that's covered a lot of my best ball, even up until this point. But yeah, man, love it. Big into following golf, tracking the golf stats. I play some one and dones with like Pat Mayo and like Rick Rungood and some of those guys. And yeah, the PGA best ball is pretty fun. It all started like even before, like 3 years ago. I used to do the Pup Cup, which was the FedEx Cup PGA playoffs only best ball, which was sick because then it cuts down from 70 to 50 to 30 man field, and it's kind of like NFL best ball if you remember that format, the PGA best playoff best ball, where it's like some players, some teams just don't make it to the next advancing leg, so you have to just draft a lot of teams that make it far. It was fun. They didn't do it last year though. Oh hell yeah, Bryson's got a tool. Yeah, I love that. That's sick. That's kind of what I do. A lot of it, I research it and I know and I figure out. But yeah, the course histories and the expected golfers and that are going to play the events is a huge edge. I used that a lot last year. I used a tool last year. This year I'm doing more of a they added 2 roster spots and they added points for finish or place of the golfers if they finish 1 through 20. You know, there's a lot of points for first place. So it's a little different than just being able to fill out the schedule like last year when you only had 10 golfers and you needed 6 active, but it's still a large component of it, like for sure. That's sick though. That's awesome. Yeah, 161616 261, not too big. For sure. That's how I did well. So John's a golf freak too. That's how I did well in the Albatross. When I for the Albatross, there's only 4 events, right? It's majors only. So you start with the Open, and then you've got the US Open, the PGA, and the Masters. And so you work backwards. You draft for week 17. You draft for the players that crush at the Open. So I was drafting a bunch of guys, Brian Harmon is good on the links. Bobby McIntyre's good out there. Draft a little bit more of the UK golfers, the English and the Irish guys, and some of the international guys too. And then you get lucky on things that happen at like the Masters because there's going to be some teams that advance. You obviously want to have enough players in the Masters and guys to do good there as well. And Scotty Scheffler does well in every golf course, every tournament, but. And in the middle tournaments, you have to get really lucky. You really just kind of have to have one of the winners on your lineup almost certainly in each of the majors, which is fun. For the scramble, there's multiple tournaments per round, so you have a little bit more wiggle room there. The Albatross is pretty cutthroat, but super fun. Hey, what's up, C Money? How we doing, my man? Good to see you. Hope your week 15 went well, C Money, and you got some teams you're looking forward to watching in week 16 in the semis. Yes, the Canadian Open is big. Yeah, little edge for you guys if you're doing the scramble. Figure out who's in the Canadian Open. There's some edge there. All right, and I'll give you a hint. It's the Canadians. The Canadians will play in the Canadian Open. Check me in at work. I don't even know what I got through. Hell yeah, I'll check for you. Yeah, C Money 125. I got you, brother. We'll pull right up. This is my last. I got so distracted. We started about golf and the scramble, but let me finish up this bigger board team. Essentially, we have JJ McCarthy, Addison, Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Luther Burden team. The running backs with Saquon and JT and Swift seems nice. Some resiliency with some right. You got Antonio Gibson dead, Jaden Blue dead. Pacheco's okay. But 3 good running backs, 2 good quarterbacks. This is my bigger board. DJ Moore is fun. Devonta Smith, good. Addison, good. Reed, good. Burden, good. Alec Pierce, I mean, if Anthony Richardson plays, maybe even better. DeAndre Hopkins is fine. Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert, nice. And Juwan Johnson. So this is all right. It also has Derek Carr on this team, if you hadn't already seen. I drafted this team. I want to say the bigger board. This one was drafted in like March, I think, before Derek Carr retired, obviously. But just for good luck, if I win the bigger board with Derek Carr, that'd be really, really funny. And those are my teams. So that's my 9 teams. Let's pull up C Money's team. Check it out before we get lost in the sauce talking about golf. Oh, nice advance. 12 out of 81. Very nice, sir. And we're looking for his, what did he say? Which team was it? Oh, you want us to check for you. You didn't even know what you got through. Whoa. Okay. Well, 12 out of 81. You got 3 little board 2s out of your 14. No puppy 4s. You got 2 MMGs out of 8. No puppy 3. No schnauzers. You got 1 out of 5 poodles. 1 out of 3 little Dalmatians. 1 out of 3 palm 2s. No palms. Unfortunately, no best ball manias out of your 2. Hate to see it. No Chihuahuas. You got 1 palm 3. I'll see you in the finals. You got 1 German Shepherd 3. No German Shepherds, no pointers, no puppy 2s, no super flex puppies, no Dalmatians, Chihuahuas, Dachshunds, gold. You got 1 golden 2, and you got 1 out of 1 for the Flock Community Contest 11. So you've got 12 teams through. Looks like the little board 2 might be your personality going forward. Some MMGs. But yeah, to get 12 teams through out of 81 is very nice. feels good. I mean, everyone feels bad, but it also feels good once you've seen how bad it can get. If you've had a bad run out before and you still have teams alive in week 16 currently, then you're feeling pretty good. I'll never pick a Canadian over an American. See, this is why Hartman will not be winning this scramble, but also hilarious. America. Hartman, if you think picking a Canadian over an American is difficult, wait until you see that I'm drafting. Uh, I mean, I don't want. I was gonna pick out a certain country, but I don't know. Nothing funny came to mind. There's golfers from every country. Wait until you draft a British golfer over an American. That's when you know it's too far. 3 solid running backs. Oh yeah, that one. I had a few cars. Derek Carr also so funny. I mean, Derek Carr was good until he retired. Nice. Yeah. 0 for BBM. Yeah, over 2 is hard. Hard to get one through with only 2. Yeah, Golden's fun. Flock. Flock is heads up, right? Isn't it? So that's cool. I didn't do any flocks. It is brutal out there. The pod luck, the complaints, the best ball bro, all of the things. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun thing. All right. That's going to do it for me. Thanks for being here tonight. Catch y'all tomorrow. I'm going to stream with Huhames and Hartman, and we'll talk some more ball. Have a great night, everyone. Any NFL playoff best ball, I think I'm going to do some with some guests and things, but I don't typically go very hard on it myself. But I did a stream last Tuesday on the channel here with Cody from Off the Schneid. We talked the first hour just about it, his thoughts. He goes pretty hard on it. He's going to get back in the streaming streets soon. Cody Off the Schneid. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you're subbed. And so I might do some stuff with him, might do some stuff with these other fellows and the bros, Hohames, Hartman. We'll see what we get into. And yeah, but I don't go super hard on it, but I do like to think about it just to stay sharp, have fun. I know the community loves it. I know Nez and the Badge Bros and John, they do a bunch of that content. So there's plenty of that to go around. So I'll be in those streets watching, listening, lurking in the chat, just like you all. Thanks for being here. Shout out to you all. GG's. Good luck, everyone, in week 16. Talk to you tomorrow night. Have a great night. Peace.